Most people go into retirement believing taxes are predictable. You work your whole life, you file your paperwork, you learn the rules, and once you stop working, things are supposed to calm down. The income slows, the expenses stabilize. The tax situation becomes routine, but that assumption is quietly breaking apart. Right now, something unusual is happening behind the scenes across the United States. Not loudly, not through headlines or breaking news alerts, but quietly, through legislation that has already passed, already taken effect, and is already changing how retirees are taxed. Several states are no longer just talking about Social Security taxes. They are actively dismantling them. Some are doing it slowly, raising exemptions year after year. Others are using tax credits to cancel the bill before it ever reaches your wallet. And a few states have gone even further, wiping Social Security taxes out entirely in a single move. Here's why this matters more than most people realize. Two retirees can earn the same exact Social Security income, same filing status, same age, same benefits. And yet, one could be paying nothing in state tax, while the other still loses a noticeable portion every year. The only difference is the state line between them. For people already retired, this means many are still paying taxes they no longer legally owe, simply because they have not revisited the rules. For those planning where to retire next, these changes can quietly determine whether retirement feels comfortable or constantly tight. Some of these laws are already active. Others finish rolling out in 2025 or 2026. One state erased Social Security taxes for everyone almost overnight, faster than anyone expected. Today, we're counting down 10 states that are actively reducing Social Security taxes all the way to zero. Some through full elimination, some through exemptions so wide that taxation barely exists anymore. By the time we reach the top of the list, you'll see the state that moved faster and more aggressively than any other in the country. Let's start the countdown. Number 10, Utah. We begin with a state that technically still taxes Social Security, but in reality, most retirees never feel it. Utah's system looks confusing on paper, which is why many people assume nothing has changed there. But the mechanics tell a very different story. Instead of eliminating the tax outright, Utah built a retirement tax credit designed to neutralize it. Social Security income is counted on one side of the return, then erased on the other through a credit that offsets the tax owed. If your income falls below $45,000 as a single filer or $75,000 as a married couple, that credit wipes out the tax completely. The result is simple: zero owed. What makes Utah's approach powerful is flexibility. Credits can be expanded without rewriting the tax code. They can be adjusted quietly, and they can grow over time without political drama. For retirees, the complexity stays on the form. The outcome stays in their favor. Most Utah retirees now receive their Social Security income without state taxation, even though the law technically still lists it as taxable income. Utah shows that removing a tax doesn't always require deleting it from the statute. Sometimes, canceling it out works just as effectively. Number 9. Connecticut. Connecticut used to carry a reputation that scared off retirees almost immediately. High taxes, high costs, little relief. That image no longer matches reality when it comes to Social Security. Instead of making a sudden change, Connecticut chose a methodical path. Starting in 2019, lawmakers began raising the income thresholds that qualify retirees for a full exemption. Every year, the bar moved higher. Every year, more people qualified. As of 2024, retirees with a federal adjusted gross income below $75,000 for single filers or $100,000 for married couples pay nothing on their Social Security benefits at the state level. No partial reduction, no complicated formulas, complete exemption. Even those above the thresholds often pay less than they did in the past, and the direction remains clear. The exemption keeps expanding, and discussions around full elimination are now happening openly. This is not a temporary measure or a pilot program. It is a structural shift in how Connecticut treats retirement income. For many retirees, especially middle-income households, Connecticut has already removed Social Security taxes entirely. And each year, that group gets larger. Number 8. Rhode Island. Rhode Island rarely shows up in retirement tax conversations. But what it has done deserves attention. The state made a quiet but dramatic change by pushing its exemption threshold so high that Social Security taxation has become rare. Under current law, if your federal adjusted gross income is below $88,950 as a single filer or $111,200 as a married couple, your Social Security benefits are fully exempt. What makes this especially powerful is that these thresholds are indexed to inflation. That means they automatically rise over time, without lawmakers needing to pass new legislation. The result is that more than 9 out of 10 retirees in Rhode Island now pay zero state tax on their Social Security income. This was not framed as a headline-grabbing elimination, but functionally, it achieved almost the same result. For most retirees, the tax simply no longer exists. Rhode Island transformed Social Security taxation from a common burden into an exception that very few people encounter. Number 7. Vermont. Vermont didn't try to disguise its intentions. The goal is full elimination, and the roadmap is already written into law. Rather than relying on credits or complicated thresholds, Vermont chose a phased exemption strategy that expands every year. In 2023, the exemption widened significantly. In 2024, it widened again. And by 2026 or 2027, the exemption is expected to cover all retirees, regardless of income. At that point, Social Security taxes disappear entirely across the state. What retirees appreciate most about Vermont's approach is predictability. There are no surprises, no sudden reversals, and no ambiguity. The timeline is public, the steps are clear, and each year brings more relief. Vermont's strategy reflects a growing recognition that taxing Social Security discourages retirees from staying or relocating. By removing that barrier gradually, the state avoids budget shocks while still delivering meaningful relief. For retirees planning ahead, Vermont offers clarity that few states can match. Number 6. New Mexico. New Mexico chose speed. Instead of stretching the process across years, lawmakers passed a single bill that reshaped Social Security taxation almost immediately. House Bill 163 expanded exemptions so broadly that the vast majority of retirees now qualify for full relief. If your income is below $100,000 as a single filer, or $150,000 as a married couple, your Social Security benefits are completely exempt from state tax. Those thresholds capture roughly 9 out of 10 retirees in the state. What makes New Mexico stand out is how quickly this happened. No slow rollout. No long waiting period. One legislative session produced an immediate, measurable impact. And the conversation isn't finished. Lawmakers continue discussing whether to remove the remaining limits entirely, which would push New Mexico into full elimination territory. For now, most retirees are already seeing the benefit, and many felt it in the very first year. Number 5. Montana. Montana has been quietly transforming its tax landscape, and Social Security is a major part of that shift. Historically, the state taxed benefits for a wide range of retirees. That is no longer the case. Montana dramatically raised its exemption thresholds, pushing them high enough that most retirees now fall below the taxable range. For those households, the Social Security tax effectively disappears. What makes Montana especially interesting is momentum. Lawmakers are actively debating full elimination regardless of income. With the majority of retirees already exempt, the remaining step is smaller than it appears. At the same time, Montana continues to attract retirees looking for space, natural beauty, and a slower pace of life. As Social Security taxes fade, the state becomes far more competitive than many people expect. Montana didn't erase the tax overnight, but it pushed it so far into the background that for most retirees, it no longer matters. Number 4. Colorado. Colorado approached Social Security taxation with something retirees value deeply: certainty. Rather than relying on income limits that change with inflation or credits that can be adjusted quietly, Colorado used age as the dividing line. The rule is simple, direct, and easy to understand. If you are 65 or older, your Social Security benefits are completely exempt from state income tax. This change took effect in 2022 and applies universally. No income caps, no phase-outs, no partial exclusions. Once you reach the qualifying age, the tax disappears. For retirees under 65, Colorado did not ignore them. Instead, the state created a gradual expansion of exemptions that grows year after year. Each tax season, the income limits increase, allowing more people to qualify for full exemption earlier in retirement. The long-term goal is unmistakable. Social Security taxation is being phased out entirely, regardless of age. Colorado reinforced this direction by lowering its overall income tax rate through voter-approved measures. This wasn't an isolated change. It was part of a broader effort to reduce the tax burden on residents, especially those living on fixed incomes. When you combine this tax environment with strong healthcare infrastructure, access to outdoor recreation, and stable local economies, Colorado quietly emerges as one of the most balanced retirement destinations in the country. For retirees, the appeal is not flash or incentives. It is reliability. The rules are clear, the benefits are locked in, and the direction is firmly set. Number 3. Nebraska. Nebraska didn't just promise to eliminate Social Security taxes, they did it. Through legislation known as LB 873, the state implemented a short, aggressive phase-out plan that moved far faster than expected. That plan is now complete. As of the 2024 tax year, Social Security benefits are fully exempt from state income tax for every Nebraska resident. No income limits, no age requirements, no special forms. Zero means zero. This change alone would have placed Nebraska high on the list. But the state didn't stop there. Recognizing that property taxes can be just as burdensome for retirees as income taxes, Nebraska expanded relief through LB 243. This program allows qualifying residents to receive property tax refunds, in some cases covering nearly the entire amount paid. Unlike one-time credits, this relief is ongoing. Retirees apply annually, creating a recurring benefit that compounds over time. In just a few years, Nebraska transformed itself from a state that taxed Social Security into one of the most retiree-friendly tax environments in the Midwest. For retirees who value simplicity, Nebraska's approach is hard to beat. The tax is gone. The policy is finalized, and the benefits are already in effect. Number 2. West Virginia. West Virginia took a risk that no other state attempted. Instead of slowly expanding exemptions or setting a vague long-term goal, the state committed to the fastest Social Security tax elimination timeline ever enacted in the United States. The plan was straightforward and aggressive. Each year, a fixed percentage of Social Security income became exempt from state taxation. No pauses, no delays, no reversals. By 2025, the exemption reaches 100%. At that point, Social Security taxes vanish entirely for all residents, regardless of income. No other state moved this quickly, from taxation to full elimination. But West Virginia didn't rely on tax policy alone. To attract new residents, the state launched the Ascend WV program, offering financial incentives to people willing to relocate. Participants receive cash payments spread over 2 years, along with access to outdoor recreation, professional networking, and community-building events. Add in some of the lowest property tax rates in the country, and West Virginia's strategy becomes clear. This is not just about retaining retirees. It is about actively recruiting them. Once considered an unlikely retirement destination, West Virginia is reinventing itself using tax policy as a competitive tool. By 2025, Social Security taxes will be completely gone, and the state wants retirees to know it. Number 1. Missouri. Missouri didn't phase out Social Security taxes. Missouri erased them. In a single legislative session, the state passed Senate Bill 190, eliminating Social Security taxation for all residents immediately. No income thresholds, no waiting period, no gradual reductions. Starting with the 2024 tax year, Social Security benefits are fully exempt for every Missouri retiree. Before this change, Missouri taxed Social Security for many middle and higher income households. Hundreds of thousands of retirees paid state tax on benefits they had already contributed toward their entire working lives. That ended overnight. More than 350,000 retirees saw their state tax burden drop instantly. What makes Missouri's move historic is not just the outcome, but the speed. No other state has eliminated Social Security taxes so completely in such a short period of time. And Missouri already had strong fundamentals in place. Public pensions were already exempt. The cost of living remains well below the national average. Property taxes are moderate. Major metro areas like St. Louis and Kansas City provide healthcare access, cultural amenities, and infrastructure retirees rely on. With Social Security taxes gone, Missouri jumped directly into the top tier of retirement-friendly states. That is why Missouri earns the number 1 spot. What just changed? Let's zoom out and look at what this really means. Utah, Connecticut, and Rhode Island expanded exemptions and credits so widely that most retirees now pay nothing. Vermont, New Mexico, and Colorado passed legislation that actively phases Social Security taxes out entirely. Montana pushed its exemption so high that taxation is nearly irrelevant, and full elimination is openly discussed. Nebraska completed its phase-out and paired it with substantial property tax relief. West Virginia implemented the fastest elimination timeline ever and reinforced it with relocation incentives. And Missouri eliminated Social Security taxes for everyone in a single year. This is not coincidence, it is competition. States are competing for retirees, and tax policy has become one of their most powerful tools. What this means going forward. If you are already retired, it is worth reviewing your most recent tax return carefully. You may qualify for exemptions or credits that did not exist just a few years ago. If you are planning where to retire next, these changes should be part of your decision-making process. Over the course of a long retirement, even modest tax differences can compound into tens of thousands in savings. And most importantly, this trend is not slowing down. The number of states taxing Social Security continues to shrink. Policies once considered permanent are being reversed faster than anyone predicted. Retirees now have leverage, and states are responding. The retirement map in America is changing, quietly but decisively. Those who pay attention will have more options, more flexibility, and more control over their financial future.